Okay. I make the same videos, and I make sure I make th- those videos as much as I can, because as a target individual, I understand that our time is limited, even more than the regular individual. We are human subjects. We are what we call target individual in the community. And you'll hear a lot of the same stories all around the world. And you have people around you that try to agitate you, but also gaslight you into accepting a reality that's falsified. You understand that people want you to believe a reality that they've created. They call it this story. They call it their reality. It's funny enough, and they use child. For me, in a lot of other cases, you hear target individuals saying that my next door neighbor, my next door 14-year-old child is, my next door 14-year-old neighbor is involved, is participating. Is like you hear a lot of childlike individuals participating in this targeting. Now, let me just kind of start from the beginning. Like I said, that I'm a target individual. You hear TI do that word said a lot, and I'm a target individual with the super advanced technology that's being implemented on a lot of us target individuals with the V2K and the synthetic telepathy, where they not only manipulate your body in this hurtful ways. Obviously, they do things to your organs, your bones. You hear that a lot. Teeth, vision, all that, but also your mind. They manipulate your brain in these disgusting ways that are pedophilia centric. Then they try to get you to accept these manipulations. So they're really conditioning your brain in these pedophilia ways and disturbing you, because they want you to start looking at yourself looking at yourself in these disturbing ways, right? And they use this. You're gonna hear a lot of things, because when I speak now, I just don't speak for myself anymore. In regard of, I speak for what's happened to me, but I bring the testimonials that validates me. So you hear this trash, right? Which are perps contracted by these governmental entities. And first of all, I obviously know that these people that I see that tells me that implementing these things onto me are just the bottom feeders. I can never look at them as like, oh yeah, it's your money. Of course I know it's not. They cannot, but it's still agitating. I know you might be doing these things to me in the sense that you are the one who is contracted to implement whatever is happening to me. But please understand, I know you just did not, nobody here. You're the trash. You might be the one pressing the button, but you're trash like you can be replaced tomorrow, right? You're nothing. You're contracted in one way or another, and your incentives are provided to you by governmental entities at some level. And those entities, as I said many times, have problem with pedophilia. Matter of fact, you're going to hear that. And I recommend for everybody who's watching my videos at some point to go and look at BuzzFeed article about this pedophilia issue in the CIA and actually other intelligence community agencies, right? Which shows a pattern of pedophilia. Now, with me, like I said, I get those tormenting manipulations that are disgusting. Not only physiologically getting these disturbing things happening to my body, my organs. I can feel my pancreas, as they were saying earlier, my bladder, my kidneys. They're doing things to that, and my bones, my joints, my muscles, all like, I think there's the word they use, the atrophy. Like I can see my muscle just like becoming small and small and smaller. Right, I'm losing strength. But the second, it's disgusting, but that's what they do. But the worst thing I think for me is the psychological manipulations. That is the pedophilia things that I talked about in my thousands video that you see, and I bring up all the time everything they do. I will never stop doing that until, well, I'll stop when I cannot do it. But if I have the strength and the ability to make a video about it, I will, because what I want to show is the patterns of what they do. If you can go back in 2020 and I'm saying the same thing, I just want to show. And now I don't only show what's happening to me, but I showed why I'm validated, which is what you're going to see next. These perps that lives next to me, contracted as they are going through a scripts. They do their best to make me accept this nasty manipulation that I experience. If you go through my videos, you'll see like pictures and blurred pictures of neighbors, and I'm saying that they try to do these things, that try to make me subscribe, and sometimes use their own children. Like I said, they sold their children to pedophiles. And then they try to pretend like, oh, we're doing that to protect our children. Trust you, know, you don't. You're not protecting your children from me because you know I'm not a threat to your children. But the entities you work for happen to have a lot of problem with pedophilia, and you're selling your own children. You nasty bottom feeder that you are, will sell your children for the purpose of implementing this psychological torment onto me. Why is it that psychological torment? Is they know that in this program, the target individuals can be forced to react in certain ways. They know that. They know very well. They know that's how they torture people in this program. They torment them psychologically by forcing them to react in disturbing ways, right? You get stimulations and sensations that disturbs you, so you detest being around children, because now being around children means disturbing thoughts or reaction that it's just nasty, right? That's why they're willing to use their children, because they want these target individuals to be tormented by these manipulations that they implement onto us, right? And so I remember not too long ago, maybe a month or so, I'm not sure. I'll go outside, but before I go, matter of fact, I'm going to do the laundry. I detest being outside with children or around children, that I even wake up extra early to do laundry. Just because I hope that if this early, they're not going to have children around. Nope, it's not the case. Children will be around. I remember that morning, I wake up super early thinking, nobody's going to be up this early. No, they're not going to bring their children. They have their babies out. It was so disturbing. Oh my gosh, poor babies. And even at 11 p.m., they'll have somebody will bring their baby. They always try to bring their babies. It's so disturbing. So I'm about to step outside, and I hear some children out, but I have my camera on. It's like, you know what? For the purpose of making a video, I have my camera. I find that it's important for me to tell the story of what's happening to me and show these patterns. Now, I could hear a little boy, and I was like, okay, but I can hear others. I'm like, okay. Usually with little boys, it's not as bad, but it can be really bad. But little girls is the nastiest. And they're like, no, we mapped it to you when you're girls. So I'm like, whatever it is, I'm going to be strong and deal with whatever. Hopefully, it's not that many. Hopefully, it's just a little boy, maybe not, but it could be like just a bunch of kids too, like little girls and whatever. So I'm going to deal with whatever I have to deal with. But I'm going to record this because this is bigger than me. I'm not going to let them live that fantasy. I'm going to record these things. I go outside, and of course, there's a whole family. There's babies of all sorts. There's like little baby boys. There's little baby girls. There's like baby girls, but they're like 9-year-old babies of all sorts. It's so sad. And this mother, she looks at me. She said, good morning. And I looked at her. It's like, I didn't even say good. I just looked at her. You disgusting shit. I didn't say that, but I looked at her like she knew. I looked at her like she's the shit that she is. You're disgusting. This baby is so sad. It didn't end there. I went to the elevator. They were holding this little baby. It's like so early. Poor baby. She's like here tired as hell. The mother tried to hold her. It's like, you see what you do? Your poor baby is like so early. Let her be in bed. For the sole purpose to do these pedophilia things. Now, today I just heard this trash. Like, I have 5 kids. Like, trash, you sold your 5 kids? Because you know what they do to babies. For us target individuals, they do this psychological torment. It's disgusting. But they actually torture even babies. Now, I hear this trash, right, trying to make me be subscriptive. Now you abuse, because they try to talk about me when I was a child, the stupid thing I did to myself. Now, for them, whatever they can to kind of counter the reality that they actually torture and abuse children. And for me to be like, oh, we're doing that because we want you to pay for what you did as a child. They're in a program that is torturing babies. And you're going to, of course, hear that. And they're not always so mean. Yes, they do these things to agitate you because they want to diverge from the reality of what they are. With me right now, they try to be like, oh, so you're going to be okay with little boys. Like, listen, this one thing I've kept saying. When they do these things to me with the pedophilia type of torture, the worst, right? And I'm saying that they're actually playing my libido. They're playing my arousals. This is how they try to break you down psychologically and want you to be subscriptive to this. They couldn't become like, oh my gosh, you see that, you get turned on. When they're the one playing, and you'll hear this, they play with the sexual arousals. And then, wow, you see, get turned like you stimulate because, and want you to accept these things. You're gonna hear everything I'm saying. You're gonna hear this. The stimulations, manipulation, all that, the arousals, you're gonna hear that. And so, they do this thing where it's worse with little girls because they try to say that with little girls, what we're doing, right? Maybe little boys is fake, but little girls is real. Because what we do is we're making you think the way you would think when you were a kid. That's how you react. We mapped it to you when you were a child. We mapped it. We are making you be the way you were when you were a child. This is how you react. And try to make me feel this disturbing stimulation. Say that's this, and try to make me think that's how you felt when you were a kid. Now, I'm in my mid-30s, right? And when I'm talking about kids, it's not only when I'm just like in middle school. I'm talking about even younger than that. It's gone to the point where they even say when I was 8 years old. Now, of course, it's disturbing. It doesn't even make sense. But this is the manipulation they do, right? So when they do these things, especially toward the little girls, I'm not going to, like I've said many times, this is the worst that they do. And right now, they're like making my skin really dried up. But with little girls, it's the worst. But regardless, I was really, when I went outside, I was like, whatever's going to happen, I hope that it's not as bad, but I have as long as I have a camera, as long as I can record this, because my point is this. I want to make sure that I depict and show what's happening. Whatever reaction I'm forced to react, whatever's going to happen, it's going to be that. But at least let me record this. That's why I like to have my camera on. That's why I like to have a body cam, because I want to be able to make a video showing what's happening to me. And they try to be like, oh, look, girls, well, no, obviously I don't want to have none of these nasty stimulations that you guys are making me experience, but the worst are the little girls. And when I go and venture out and I know it's like, please, like, give me strength, but it's going to be nastier if I see little girls, because they're going to do this extra disturbing stimulation, which they say they mapped it. And this trash think, oh, you see, that's proof. Not trash, it's because you do worse things toward little girls that is more disturbing to me. Little boys too, but the little girls is the worst, because then you're like, oh no, we mapped it to you. It's like, oh, delusional shit, it's trash. But it's funny, they do that to little boys. And because also little boys, the thing is, I didn't raise, but I was around the little boy for a long time, so they cannot really like use that and be like, what happened at that time. But little girls, because I did not raise a little girl, or I was not around little babies, they can't really just like, I can't. It's something that can manipulate me, and it's like, no, but when you're a child, that's how it is. So that's what they do, and they try to confuse me as I'm speaking right now, to try to torment me. I have no problem. My brain, I'm not aligned with what's going on there. This in my brain is theirs, but they force me to get this reaction. Now they try to have this back and forth in my brain, and it's like, yeah, you see, you were hoping that was just a little boy but not a little girl. Yes, actually, I was, because I don't want to deal with the extra nastiness of how I react if I see little girls. But I didn't know whatever's going to be out there. I was going to be out there, and I was going to deal with it. I could hear there was multiple children. Maybe there's little girls, but as long as I have the camera, I'm okay. Because the camera for me is a way for me to say what's happening to me. Every time I go anywhere, I try to have a body cam. Because if they do the stimulation, they do the peripheral type of torture, I will. They think I should be. You see how many pictures of the ads I've seen, the things I've seen. I've put that there. Because they want you to identify with the nastiness that's happening to you. And I won't. Not only I won't, I will be expressive of what's happening to me. And there'll be no campaign. They'll be like, no, there is, we mapped it. It's like, no, you do the peripheral type of torture. Just like I don't want to see an ad with little girls on it because you're going to do nasty things, or even little boys. Little boys, at least, I'll be like, okay, so what happened here? You see? But little girls, like, oh, you see, we mapped it to you when you were a child. It's like, oh, this is the most disgusting. Just like I don't want to do that. If it's something I'm going to see, I'm going to take a screenshot and then talk about it. They want me to be subscribed to this nasty manipulation. This is disgusting. So I went outside knowing that at least there's going to be a little boy. I don't know, knowing what else is going to be out there. But Regardless, if there's little girls, little boys, I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna show what they did. And I ended up making a video. You'll see it if you go down. I see the whole family. I was like, okay, I have the picture. These mothers are looking at me. Oh, good morning. I said, don't fucking say good morning. You're trash. This baby is so sad. Like it's almost heartbreaking for me because I detest children now. But this, it was not the case before August 19th, 2019. What before? It's like wholesome, like this, like everybody. Now it's just like, oh gosh, if I could be in a world where there's no kids of all sorts, especially like, oh my gosh, look, can you imagine? Because they're gonna do these pedophile things, and this trash outside, and neighbors trying to get you to subscribe. I could hear a trash outside yelling, and there are. This trash could not even say Roy Moore. He knows I can never let him live the fantasy because reality is what you're gonna hear. They do the pedophile type of torture. And these mothers and fathers can sell their own babies, little baby girls, little baby boys, any kids. Let me repeat this. This happens to boys and little girls for me. But when it comes to little girls, it's worse. When it comes to little boys, it's because I was a little boy in regard of like, not raised, but I was like babysitting and I was around the little boy. They're going to have to play with things even more because it's not too long ago. Versus little girls, I've not really been around little girls that much, maybe until like when I was very young. And there they can just say, oh, you see, we mapped it to you when you were a kid. And then they talk about, remember what you did as a child? It's like, we mapped it. It was like trash. And so they want you to be subscriptive to this. But of course, I know it's not true. Because what will happen, like, I used to watch, before August 2019, I used to watch all kinds of shows and ads and things. You think I would be like, no. They are trying to get you to accept this. For me, it's not acceptive because I know who I am. And they do the pedophile type of torture. And for them, they think that the torture I'm going to experience, because every time to counter reality, is this. You're going to be castrated. It's like, yes, I'll be castrated. And you do the pedophile type of torture. And you do this nasty pedophile type of torture on little girls and little boys. But when you say, it's funny, when they say little boys is fake, little girls is real. It's fake both. Both of these are reactions that you are forcing me to experience. And no, you're not mapping when I was a child. I was not a child and getting the stimulations. Now, of course, their job is to try to sell this fantasy. That's why they repeat a lot of things. For me, like I said, the scripts are the same. They are. When they say they are, they say what you're experiencing, you've experienced it at some point. We just got it from somewhere in your past when you were a child, and we just bringing that up. We mapped it back in. It was something like that. Basically, they're saying, yes, we are manipulating you to experience that, but it was somewhere in your brain at some point, so we're just bringing that in. You understand? It went to even a further level of distortion of reality. They want me to identify with this disturbing thing. So I was on this duty thing. I had to go to court for something that I was told, and I was in this trial thing for a second where a father, did something to his child multiple times. They were trying to say, you see that? We got him. It's us. He's somebody like you. This is actually, I'm in New York. This nastiness, unfortunately, there's a bunch of pedophiles living in this neighborhood alone. A bunch. If you go to you'll see some horrible things. And so they wanted me to go in court and see this man and try to identify with this man, thinking that, you see, you should relate to this man. He's like you. Trash. You should relate to this man. He's like you guys. These people work in a program where they try to manipulate men and women to think about children in these disgusting ways. And then they want me to think, no, he's like a target. He was not a target. This is not a man that was being manipulated. And he was a man who did something to his child. And can you imagine? To try to come up with a story where, no, we got this guy. You know what happened? His own daughter spoke against him. His daughter said what he did to her. And they're like, no, it's like, and this trash will say she's going to frame me. She said, they made me think that she's going to be brave like the daughter. who spoke against her father that molested her and did some other things. Disgusting. I said, no, but remember what you did as a kid. This is a man who's a father. And try to compare to a child who's as young as his child right now. Do you understand how disgusting? And try to make you think that, oh, we got this guy. So what, did you make his daughter speak up? You're the trash, low life. You work for people like this fucker who do something to his child. And now you think you guys are here forcing him to have these pedophilia dreams? No, this is a man who is naturally, organically forcing his child to do these things to him, or even doing something to his child. A grown fucking man. And you think you're delusional, retarded men and women here try to make me think that no, we protect that trash. You work for people who do this, what this man does. And it's like, no, but remember what you did as a kid? And this trash next door tried to make noise campaign. Because they wanted me to believe that we got this man just like we got you. Trash, you a bunch of lowlife who are about to frame me. Who work for entities filled with pedophiles day in and day out. You force me to get sex stimulation and arousal toward children. You are even you're even waking your kids at this early this morning. You keeping your kids up to like this late. Just so you can do the pedophilia type of torture. You're the nastiest. Your children should be taken away from you, you fucking trash. These people are nasty. You're gonna hear what they do. This man, no, this is just what happens in real world. Guess who caught him? His child spoke up. His baby, who's only 13 years old. You nasty lowlife out here making kids talk about framing people. And we're brave, we're noble. You nasty shit. But to all my target individuals, know yourself and see them for the trash that they are. The lowlife bottom feeders. Can you imagine trying to tell a child to involve themselves in framing and then try to delude this child to be like, you know, you're like that child who spoke against her father. Trash you. Oh my gosh, it's so disgusting. And to counter reality, they tell me I'm going to be raped. My friend, I've seen one of these next door neighbor. When I tell you, man, yo, dignity in this person is non-existent. Dignity in people, there's no dignity. They try to stimulate me while making me think of their little girls. That's trash. And then they try to sound, they use this childlike fucking low-life, weak low-life. They couldn't speak about a pedophile's name like Roy Moore, but comes like, oh, they're going to frame you, and they're going to rape you. And so, listen to what they do. Listen to the retardations of stories they tell themselves. They call that their reality. Their reality is distorted because they work for pedophiles. Because these people like that would do things to their child. That's the kind of people paying for them to do what they do. They're the one contracting them one level or another. And for me, the reason why they wanted me to be there, because my brain, right? At this point, when it's manipulated, they can influence your brain. They can make you think in these illogical ways. And they wanted me to look at this man, this grown man, who did something to his child, and find ways for me to identify with him with the manipulations. That's why they wanted me to be there. They didn't catch this guy. This is his own baby. His own child spoke up. This man is not a man who's being manipulated or dreamed. Like, he's not in the program. He's just a fucking pedophile. It's somebody who just is what, that's him. He's not here surrounded by bottom feeders who are manipulating his brain or just gaslighting him to believe that he's something he's not, which is what you're going to hear. He's just a fucking pedophile that could actually be involved with them. These people are trash. But of course, they try to agitate you with this reality. Me, I'm like, listen, when we see each other, this is what I'm going to see you as. I was hearing this mother who probably, this trash next door, this is the most disgusting things. And they're like, let me explain what she's saying that. I think this next door neighbor, this mother is the trashy human being I ever seen. If you could hear her talk when she's trying to make noise campaign, I think she's gonna have her own child involved in the frame. What kind of mother would do that? No, what kind of self-respecting mother or father would be like, oh, use my child to frame this guy? Trash! Dude, trash! She is so nasty. It's just so sad. What kind of look? Thank you God, I didn't have to live my life doing this. That's the things that I'm looking at her. It's like, you're a nasty low life. I seen fathers, but I'm like, please leave this dirty low lifeness. She was trying to counter the fact that I was gonna bring the fact that, are you delusional? Of course, I know this is an actual man who did something to his child. It's not some TI that you guys manipulate. No, this is, he did something. His baby said that. He was not framed by some next door neighbor. He's not, day in and day out, not being manipulated. This guy, that's what he did to his baby. He's a grown fucking man who did something to his own child, his baby. This man is a huge dude, man. You know that. This is what happens every day here. While you guys are here trying to change people and manipulate it, we mapped it. We mapped it. You think this was mapped? Trash. Do you think he was one of the mapped one? No. And you think you have some childlike shit like that? Fucking retard. But target individual, I gotta calm down. Remember, these perps around you, their job, they give incentives to agitate you, to make you lose your mind, and to accept these manipulations. For me, I'm like, thank you God, this trash is gonna die too. Let her enjoy this nastiness until the time comes and she has to go. At least I didn't have to live my life like this. Keep selling your kids to these pedophiles. I remember I was on the call with somebody who was they tried to hype them up. Because not all perp will do what she does. They will never have their children involved like that. They will maybe show their children, but you think they'll be like, oh, let's try to create a setup and frame him using my own child. No. He was like, oh yeah, I have a couple of children to sell to this, you know. He was saying that to try to, and I have not seen him on camera since. He's like, you see, yeah, he would do it. Of course he wouldn't. You're the trash ass who's willing to do that. And calling you're nothing. Yeah, you're something. Trash. So my target individuals, listen to what they do. At this point, when they do the manipulation, the pedophilia type of torture, the torture of children, and when they talk about abusing you, listen to what they do to babies. I go in corporates, right, in the working environment. People who wants to be seen in disrespectable ways. He abused. How old is you have children. How old is your child again? Okay, imagine your child being suffocated by this military-grade weaponry. Or sexually tortured too. Oh, by the way, these entities, there's a bunch of pedophiles. Oh, guess what? They have this tendency to manipulate people in these pedophilia ways. Oh, you mapped it to me when I was a child? You fucking trash. I know what you guys do to even infants. You're going to listen to all of this. I'll never let them escape. Never. No escapism. No, your reality. No. You're going to know it's distorted reality and you're going to listen to reality.
Contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child, he had his contract revoked. One CIA staffer was charged with child sexual crimes.
Hey, don't worry, we'll take care of this.
14, the inspector of images of abuse have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that two officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening for whatever reason with more frequency in our intelligence agencies, or is this something that is more pervasive in the general population than I originally realized? I mean, what's going on here? This is so bizarre. Remember, it's so evil.
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting
8 billion are pretty crazy. They have names like Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, and those are the confusion tactics. And when they're breaking down the ego of the human through all the pains and tortures and the verbal breakdown, these are typical CIA torture scripts.
It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. This disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. This guy trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. This disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know. I don't care.
This is a common break. Torture. The techniques are more psychologically special, homosexual targetatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. Targets that are similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. View child pornography in their minds. Pornography in their minds. To view child pornography in their minds. And all targets are forced to view child pornography in their mind.
What is referred to as malodorants. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including my reactions and responses. When severe, the zaps to the genitals feel as though someone is electrocuting my genitals repeatedly. I also often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes.
For his inappropriate behavior of soliciting sex from young girls. And don't forget, he did that while he was assistant DA.
Contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply
It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. This disgusting.
Experience what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture. Experience what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of. I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic. And they used her to threaten the most torture in me, as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions, despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us a dramatic response, Susan, and please give us a congressional hearing. Thank you.
And have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss, and cancer. Two of my children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. During her pregnancy with Dylan, we were being targeted more so than other times. At the delivery, we were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured.
And I am a victim of organized stalking, electronic harassment, microwave torture, V2K abuse, and I'm asking you to help us end this crime against humanity, which has impacted men, women, children all around the world.
Hi, I'm Wan from Malaysia. My family are targeted individuals. We are victims of cyber torture. And I will not give up. I will fight to the end.
And I'm a victim of organized
we need
stalking,
this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, and I'm speaking to you on International Targeted Individual Day. I live in the U.S., in Illinois, and I'm a victim of organized
we
stalking,
need this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, microwave torture,
I've been targeted for 9 years.
24/7.
Please become more aware of this crime and those that the crime is being committed against. We need your support and help in ending this crime.
Hello, my name is Wendy Brown. I'm a targeted individual who is living in New Zealand, but my targeting began in California. I'm an American citizen, and the targeting continues in New Zealand. I'm making this video in remembrance of Targeted Individual Day, our 3rd annual Targeted Individual.
Occasion, I was told I was going to be shot in the face, and it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, you're going to be shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the voices go, it's a bunch of females. And I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female?
To see every night, that I thought how that could happen, but then I told them that they would never take my will, and since we all know how the psychopaths groups work with what the TI says or does, then they started during the nights to run some kind of beam where suddenly I've been wakened up at 3 o'clock in the mornings and some kind of voice comes and say phrases, sound incomprehensible, and some other times can actually catch what is saying, its not my voice, a different voice, and I realized that they are trying to program for me to take it in a way that I won't notice a possible change in my behavior. Of course this is not new, because one main thing this program is out there, is called behavior modification for the undesirable, and that's one of the excuses this groups give for the neighbor TO join, deception. I learned to talk back, in my mind, during the process when I was awakened, and I would say demeaning things, that I cannot repeat it in this blog, you know what I mean. Look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ass, so just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today, they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use of people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals. When I aggravated them, I usually called demeaning names, and one of them is referring to homosexuals. For me, all of the slaves are misfits, society haters, scumbags, etc. No, I don't have anything personal against them, homosexuals, but as my way to aggravated the slaves, and since they love to use children for the torture and stalking, street theater etc. Especially teenagers for the stalking at close range with an attitude, they are using them during my sleep in the perversion program, and so you can imagine what the slaves of torture are pretending to do to me. In the last days, as today September 9th, 07, anything I